Hello, my friends, and welcome to Kotlin Collections section. This is a very interesting section that we are going to talk about collections. We will see the different data structures in Kotlin. So, what are collections? Collection usually contains a number of objects of the same type, and these objects in the collection are called elements or items. Kotlin's standard library provides a rich set of tools for managing collections. The types of collections. In Kotlin, collections are categorized into two forms: immutable collection and immutable collection. So, if we look on this diagram, we have here the Java collections, the collection framework, the list, the set, and the map. This is the collection on Java. While in Kotlin, collections are in the collection interface here, or the abstractions here. The framework collection contains list and set. And we have a mutable collection framework for the mutable list and the mutable set. So the collection has list and set, while the mutable collection contains mutable list and the mutable set. Okay, this is the hierarchy of the collections. We're going to talk about lists, sets, and map. Note that the map is not linked to the collection. It contains a different approach and different dealing with collections and different hierarchy. We are going to talk about it in the next videos. So I want from you to understand two things. There are different types of collections in Kotlin, and there are mutable and immutable collections in Kotlin. So the immutable collections. What are the immutable collections in Kotlin? Immutable, it means that it supports only read-only functionalities and cannot be modified its elements. So immutable, it's from naming, we cannot change its element. Okay? Immutable collections and their corresponding methods are for the list of, and we pass here the general type or the generic type of the collection. The set, we use set of, map of. So whenever you use list of, set of, map of, you are talking about mutable collection. Immutable collections, okay? So immutable collections, list of, set of, map of. Let's see the mutable collection. It supports both read and write functionalities. Mutable collections and their corresponding methods are list, set, and map. For the list, mutable list of, array list of, and array list. Set, mutable set of, hash set of methods. Map, mutable map of, hash map of, and hash map. We will see these in details in the next videos, and we'll talk about every collection, the list, the set, and the map, whether it's immutable and immutable. Hello, my friends. Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about lists, specifically the immutable lists. Lists are unordered collections in which we can access elements or items by using indices. Indices means an integer numbers that define a position for each element. Elements can be repeated in a list any number of times. So the elements can be repeated. We have it as an ordered collection, so we can access the elements directly by using the indices. And for immutable lists, we cannot perform add or remove operations. Okay, so immutable, we cannot add or remove things and elements from it because it's an immutable. In order to create the immutable list, we start by val immutable list. You can name it whatever you want. I will name it immutable list, list1 equal to list of. Here we specify. When you see list of, you can directly know that it's an immutable list. Here we can specify the generic type of this list. It can be an integer, it can be of type string, or whatever you want. I prefer starting by integers. A list of integers, 4, 5, 6. If I put string, it will give me an error because I specified the generic type, which defines the type of elements that this list should contain. Okay? Now, if I put list1 dot add, it will give me an error because it's an immutable list that will not allow the addition or removing from this list. Okay, so these elements are these elements of this list. We cannot change them. We cannot add or remove these elements. Okay, in order to print all the elements of this list, we use the for each loop. So for each item in list 1, and we've seen this for loop, this for loop in many videos before, I need to print all these items. Okay, so print ln these items. If I run the program now, I have created a list, immutable list contains 4, 23 and 1 as elements inside it. Okay, so we succeeded in accessing the elements of this list by printing each item alone. Okay, I can create here, I can remove also this generic type because we have 4, 23 and 1, and Kotlin will detect it directly as a list of integers. If I can make strings like this, a list of strings. So Jack, these are names, Jack, John, Mike. If I print it or run the program, it will give me all the elements, all the items in this list. So we cannot perform addition or removing of operations on this list. So this is how we define immutable lists in Kotlin. Hello, my friends. In this video, I'm going to talk about the mutable lists. We've learned before that the mutable collection supports both read and write functionalities. So there are 3 types: the list, set, and map. And whenever you see mutable list of, or a mutable set of, or a mutable map of, think about that it's a mutable collection. Okay? Now we will introduce the first mutable collection, which is the mutable lists. Mutable lists, since mutable list supports read and write operation, declared elements in the list can be either be removed or added. So, for example, if I create here a mutable list, var mute list equal to mutable list of. Okay, you see these functions, mutable list of, map, set of. I will select the mutable list of. And here you need to specify the type. So it's an int, a mutable list of strings, or whatever you want. Okay, or you can not specify here the type. You can declare directly your elements. So for example, Jack, John, and Mike. Okay, we can now modify the elements of this list, modifying the elements. So I specify here the name of the list with these square brackets, and I will specify the index. Again, it's similar to the array. We start by 0 from here, which indicates the element, and index 0, which is the first element, index 2, and index 1. John is an index 1, Mike is an index 2. Okay, so I will change Mike. I specify the index 2, which refers to the third element. Okay, I want from you to understand the numbering in Kotlin. Mutable list to equal to JSON. Okay, so I changed Mike to JSON. Okay, so if I print now the mutable list at index 2, okay, if I print it, it will give me, I will comment this before, it will give me JSON and not Mike because it's changed, it's being modified. Okay, so click run, and here we go, we have JSON and not Mike. So here in the mutable list, we can modify the elements. Now, if I need to adding elements, I just specify the name of my list dot. There are a bunch of methods: add, replace, add all, remove, add, size, get, and so on. I will use the add function now. Okay, I can specify either an element of index string, of type string, sorry, or an index of type int, or element and of type string. So what does this mean? I can put like this, Roy, so I can add the element of type string, or I can put here at index 2 add Roy. Okay, we will see what is the difference. So I will remove this index. If I run the program here and I print ln mutable list at index 3, which is the fourth element because we have added Roy, it will give me Roy. Okay, because I've added Roy to the end of the list. So the list now looks like this, Roy. Okay, it's very simple. If I specify the index, so I am specifying where I need to insert the new element. So this is how we add elements, how to modify elements in the mutable list. Now let's see how to fetch all the elements, how to read all elements of list. Exactly, I think you get it. We will use the for each loop. So this for each loop, every item in mutable list, I need to print this item. So print ln this item. Okay, so this is how we access all the elements, how to loop through all the elements of the mutable list. If we run the program, we get Jack, John, JSON because it's modified, and Roy is added. Okay, you see guys, it's very simple. This is how we create a mutable list in Kotlin. It's a very good list if you have things and operations to need, like read and write, add or remove elements. Hello, my friends. Let's continue with the collection in Kotlin. Let's learn about sets. A set is a collection of unordered unique elements. Please, guys, pay attention with me and write these down on your copybook in order to memorize them fast. It's a collection of unique elements. Remember, we use sets when we don't need duplicate elements. Generally, the order of set elements doesn't have a significant effect. We cannot perform add or remove operations because it's an immutable set. We have two types, the immutable and the mutable. In this video, I'm going to talk about the immutable sets. So, in order to create an immutable set, we start by var immutable set equal set of. You see, guys, we talked in the presentation, in the introduction of to Kotlin collections, we talked about the set of. The set of, you can specify here the generic type of the elements that you are going to use, either int, either whatever you want. But I prefer not to make this. We can make the set of different types, like 5, 6, hello. And since it's a unique, so I will insert 6 and 0, 0, 1, 5. So the duplicates are zeros, 6, and 5. So we have a unique elements 5, 6, hello, 0, and 1. So we have 5 different elements, 5 unique elements. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elements. Okay? Between these elements, we have duplicates of 5, 6, and zeros. In order to print every element in this set, we use the for loop. So for each element in immutable set, we will loop through it and we're gonna print it. Okay? So print ln item. Okay? Here we looped through all the elements of the set to print it. And this is the for each loop that we have talked about it, and we have used it inside the lists. Okay? So pay attention when we run the program. I want from you to notice that only the unique elements are being printed. You see, guys, we didn't print 2 times 5, and we didn't print 2 times 6 or 0. Okay? So we print only the unique elements. In this set, we have 8 elements, but we have 5 of these 8 elements are unique. So the sets are used when you need to print or to deal with unique elements. Okay? Another important note that I should mention, since we are dealing with immutable sets, so immutable collection didn't accept the add or remove. Okay? So I cannot put add, I cannot put remove. So this is prohibited in the immutable sets. Later on in the next video, we're going to talk about the mutable sets, and we'll see how to add and remove elements from the set. So this is all for the immutable sets in Kotlin. Hello, my friends. In the previous video, we've learned about the sets, specifically the immutable sets. In this video, I'm going to talk about the mutable sets. So As a revision, a set is a collection of unordered unique elements. It's a collection of unique elements, no duplicate element. Okay? So, the mutable set supports both read and write functionality. We can access, add, or remove elements from this collection easily, and it will preserve the order of elements. So let's learn how to create a mutable set. I will comment these from the previous video, and I will create here the mutable set. In order to create a mutable set, we start by the var mutable set, you can name it whatever you want, equal to mutable set of. Okay, you use mutable set of, and you can specify here what type of the generics and what type of elements you will create. So I will specify int, for example. I can put 8. If I put here a string, it will prevent me because I have specified that the general type of this set would be an int. Okay, so this is why we use these general type or the generic types. Okay, so 8, 6, 34, 6, 3, and 1. 6 is the duplicate elements. I intentionally write it because I need to show you that the set is used to store only the duplicate element, the unique elements. It will not print for me 6 2 times. It will print for me 6 1 time. Okay, so in order to access the elements inside the inset, we can do like this, or print the elements, or loop through. We can use the for loop for each item in mutable set. Here, what we are going to make, we are going to print ln this item. Okay, so if I run the program now, it will give me 8, 6, 32, 34, and 1. And 6 is written 1 time. Okay, so we have 6 elements. We print only 5 elements because 6 is duplicate, so it will only print it 1 time. Okay, in order to add elements, adding elements to set, we start by mutable set dot add. What we need to add? We need to add the 77. So if I print the I run the program, it will give me 8, 6, 34, 32, 1, and 77. You see, I have added this element to here. Now let's try to add an existing element to check if it is awake or not. So I will add number 8. Okay, 8 is presented here, and I'm adding here 8. Let me check if it will add it or not, and will not add it because 8 is found before, so it will not make it will not make duplicate elements printing. Okay, so we use sets for storing the unique elements, to print, to have a collection of only unique elements. Okay, it will not accept this, it will accept only the unique elements. Okay, now let me remove elements. Mutable set dot remove. What we need to remove the element 8 or 77. If I run the program, then 77 will not be presented. Here, I should specify the element. Okay, so this is the element. This is all about the mutable sets. I hope you understand well. Later on, we will see it in the applications. We will use it in applications and exactly in maps applications. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about the maps. A map is an object that maps keys to values, that reference keys to values. Okay? Please write these notes on your copybook in order to memorize them fast. Don't miss to write the examples also. Map keys are unique and hold only one value for each key. It's a set of key value pairs. It's a set of key value pairs. Each key refer to exactly one value. Okay? This is very important. These are very important notes. The values can be duplicates, but keys should be unique. This is a very important note. The values can be duplicates, but keys should be unique. Maps are used to store logically connections between two objects. For example, a student ID and their name. So the ID would be a unique and their name could be duplicate. Okay? As it's an immutable, its size is fixed and its method supports read-only access. I will talk in this video about the immutable maps, and in the next video we're going to talk about the mutable maps. So in order to create a immutable map, we start by var immutable map equal to map of, and here we can specify the generic type. But I need from you to understand this and pay attention for this. I specify here the unique element, which is the key. I will start by 1, 2, this is the operator, and I specify here to check. So you see this, I'm using the to operator in order to tell Android Studio or the compiler that 1 is the key that referred to Jack, that maps to Jack element, this value element. Okay, so this is the key and this is the value. I'm mapping the key to this value. In order to add more elements, I spread them by comma. To John, I can use 9 to Jackie. Okay, so this is how we create a map of an immutable map inside Kotlin. Okay, now in order to print all the elements inside this key, we start by, for each key in immutable map dot keys or values, because I specified here a naming for a key, so I'm going to print all the keys. Okay, so every key inside this immutable map, I need to print ln. What I need to print? I need to print the immutable map, and here I will specify what I want from it. I need to print the keys. Okay, I will show you, don't worry. If I run the program here, it will give me the values. Okay, so here I specified the keys, and immutable map, I give it the key, it will return me a value. Okay, so this is the excellent way, this is the ideal way that we print all, that we use it to print all the elements inside the map. Okay, so don't miss it. Please write it down in order to memorize it. Later on, we will see it in many examples and many exercises and many apps. So please understand this. For each key in the immutable map dot keys in the set, in this collection 1, 2, 9, go and print the immutable map. I give it the key, it will return me a value. For example, I give it 1, it will give me Jack. Okay, so I will comment this, print, for example, I will show you, print immutable map. I will give it the index, the key 1. If I run the program, it will give me Jack. If I give it 0, it will give me null, because 0 is not referencing to any of the values 1, 2, and 9. Okay, so I want from you to understand this. The immutable map will not work with indices, it will work with the keys. So I give it a key, it gives me a value, not an index. It's a very important, and I mentioned it in this video because many people asked me about this, and many programmers make mistakes with it. So this is how we deal with a immutable map. And of course, I can't write immutable map.add or remove, okay, because it's an immutable collection. Hello, my friends, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about the mutable map. A map is an object that maps keys to values. The map keys are unique and hold only one value for each key. And the keys should be unique and the values can be duplicates. In this video, I'm going to talk about the mutable maps. So I will comment this and I will start writing the code of an example for creating the mutable list, mutable map. So since it's a mutable map, so it supports functionalities like put, remove, and clear, and so on. So we can add, remove elements from this map. In order to create a map, we start by var mutable map equal to mutable map of. And I can create here and specify here the general types, the generic types, and the type expected to be. So if I want to be precise, and I can specify int for the keys and comma, the values would be strings. Okay, here I make exactly that what we have done in the immutable map. For example, 1 for or 2 Lily, comma 2 for or 2 to Pila, 3 or 6. I can make 6. I'm not making indices here, I'm just specifying the keys. So 6 to Kitty. Okay, so this is a map that we have 3 elements. The key 1 referred to Lily, 2 will refer to Pila, 6 will refer to Kitty. Okay, so in order to add elements to map, I will use the mutable map here, mutable map dot put. So I will not use the add, I use the put. Here I specify the key and value. So I need to specify a key of type int and the value of type string. So I specify a key for as comma. I specify here the string, which is Jack. Okay, so the elements having these keys will be representing for Jack. Okay, so this element will be created. It holds the key as 4 and the value as Jack. Okay, in order to remove elements, we use mutable map dot remove, and here we specify either a key, either a key and the value, but I prefer using the key. So I can remove from here 6. Okay, so I specify 6, the key. Okay. In order to print the elements inside this mutable map, so I will loop through the elements of the map. For each item in mutable map dot values, in each of these values, I'm going to print ln the item. Here, I am not going to use the values. I'm not going to use the keys as before. I can use the values. So if I run the program, it will give me the values of this map: Lily, Pila, Kitty, and the Jack that it's added recently. Okay, so this is how we use the immutable maps and the mutable maps in Kotlin and how we create them. And by the way, we're gonna use this type of collections in complex applications